The lion is come up from his thicket, and the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way. He is gone forth from his place to make thy land desolate, and thy cities shall be laid waste without an inhabitant. Now who would have thought that we, the chosen seed of Israel, would be living in these last days to see the hand of Yah upon these wicked nations? What a joy that is to see such an event that is taking place right before our eyes. And the destroyer, the Almighty Yah, is on his way. And he is not coming with roses and kisses or hugs. He is coming with complete destruction of these nations who have enslaved, abused all manner of evil against his chosen people, the Negroes scattered to the four corners of the earth. And these heathens better wake up and watch out, because it's coming, and nothing can stop the hand of the Most High from his mighty destruction. Rain down your fearsome anger, O mighty Yah, upon these wicked nations, and show them that you mean business. Show them that their time is up. Everything that they plotted against your chosen people has come to an end. Make them pay for what they have done. And we thank you, Father Yah, for the glory that you're showing upon this earth in favor of your people. We are seeing it as we speak. We are seeing it. Our people are waking up, and through your spirit, your almighty spirit is awakening these dry bones to the four corners of the earth. What a mighty Elohim we serve. And when it's all said and done, all your people will be gathered together. And we can look back and we can say it was well worth the struggle. We can look back and say it was well worth the fiery trials that tried our very souls to get to this point, to perfect us, to drive all the wickedness out in us that was implanted in us by Christianity. And we thank you, Father Yah, for what you have done for your people. And the heathens will look up and they will know that we are the true sons and daughters of Elohim, and they will bow before all the children of Israel. What a glorious day that will be.
The eruption of a volcano on Hawaii's largest island has forced the evacuation of 1,700 residents. The Kilauea volcano is spewing smoke and lava. It's prompting a local state of emergency. The state's National Guard has been mobilized to provide security to about 800 structures. Vladimir Dutier has the latest.
The foam, lava, ash, and smoke burst out of the ground around 4:30 local time Thursday, breaking the afternoon silence.
We could hear the lava exploding right from the house.
A witness described the flowing magma as a curtain of fire. Another said the eruption sounded like a jet engine.
I smelt it and I ran to the corner, and that's when I ran into a military officer that told me that it's smoking, and I sure as heck enough take the turn, and one of my favorite streets at least is on fire.
The island has been pummeled with hundreds of small tremors since last week.
Look how deep it goes.
Leaving sizable cracks across streets and in front of homes. Hours before the eruption, a larger quake struck and plumes of smoke rose into the air. There are currently 5 active volcanoes on the Hawaiian Islands. 4 of those are on the Big Island, but Kilauea is by far the most active. It has been in a constant state of eruption since 1983. Leilani Estates, the site of the current lava flow, sits about 25 miles east. Time-lapse video taken last week showed the constant activity at the lava lake inside Kilauea's crater. Officials have been worried magma from the volcano could travel underground, threatening homes miles away.
I ran in, I grabbed the dogs, threw them in a crate, put them in the car. We moved from California to get away from forest fires. Welcome to paradise.
A fountain of lava more than 100 feet high, telephone poles lighting up like matchsticks, and this time-lapse video shows a house being consumed by molten rock. These are the haunting images of Kilauea unleashing its fury. The lava has already devoured more than 24 homes in the neighborhood of Leilani Estates. This car never stood a chance.
Up here in the helicopter, you can really see the destruction down below. You don't see any firefighters down there because there is nothing they can do. This is an unstoppable force.
High levels of toxic sulfur dioxide gas and hundreds of earthquakes still rock this community. Kilauea has been in a constant state of eruption since 1983. The most recent eruptions were caused in part by the collapse of a crater that was filled with lava. When it caved in, the lava traveled along a hose-like tunnel underground called a lava tube, where pressure built up and formed cracks that burst, spewing lava hundreds of feet into the air. We hiked through thick brush to see the lava up close. At first glance, it may not look like the lava is moving at all, but take a look right here at the leading edge. It is still slowly inching forward along the road. For a second straight day, county officials are allowing some of the 1,700 people evacuated to return to pick up the essentials, knowing they might have to leave again at a moment's notice. Kalena Kealoha fled the California wildfires for his dream home here. Now the lava flows are just feet away.
I was going to raise my daughters here, but doesn't look like it's going to turn out to be the scenario we hoped.
Amber Makuakani's home is already gone, and the single mom does not know how to tell her 4-year-old son.
I need to figure that out. Yeah, my son asks, Mommy, can we go home?
From Honolulu, give us some context, though, for how unusual this particular lava flow is.
It's unusual. I grew up in Honolulu, and it's unusual because of the way the eruption occurred. I've come here to the Big Island many times. I have family here, and you're actually able to, on the south side, hike out to the lava flow, the constant eruption, and you can walk right out to it. It's actually fairly calm. This one is different. That one is lava coming down the mountain, very predictable where it's going to go. This one is different because these fissures are just opening up seemingly in random places and spouting out lava in the middle of a neighborhood. Even some of the scientists I've spoken to say they haven't seen anything like this before.
Wow. Well, for people whose homes have been destroyed, Carter, what sort of insurance is available to them?
Well, I've spoken to some people. Some say they have insurance. Others say they don't. It is expensive insurance here because we are on the slope of a volcano, and this is considered a lava zone 1. That means it's a high-risk area. Of course, people know that when they move here, but they don't think it's ever going to happen. And a lot of people are probably wishing they had bought that insurance now.
All right.
We have another bizarre incident here where hundreds of birds have suddenly fell from the sky, this time in Mexico. And right out the gate, the official version is that this is a mysterious disease. And
it's one of the rarest things I've ever heard of.
It was another overcast and windy winter day in Draper when a not-so-normal thing happened.
As I was driving, these birds just were falling out of the sky.
Lacey Brown was one of the people who saw things firsthand.
They were all on the ground right around here and along the roadway. They were just falling out of the sky like leaves.
But they weren't leaves. They were hundreds of small birds called starlings. And like most birds, starlings like to flock.
You've seen that black cloud as it's flying all over the place. Well, that's a starling group, and they call that flying tandem or murmuring.
Experts say it's a technique they use to stay warm in the wintertime and to ward off birds of prey.
So what would cause hundreds of birds to fall from the sky? Some people are saying aliens. Others are saying maybe it was lightning or they were poisoned. But in this circumstance, none of those are the case.
No aliens, no cloaking device, no poison. It's just one of those freak things that the birds were just flying along, crashed into the side of a large vehicle, and boom.
Whether it be misdirection or weather-related, something caused the lead starling to crash, and thanks to the breed's tandem flying, the rest followed.
So I pulled over to help because I noticed some of them were not dead.
Lacey says she saw one man shoveling the birds out of the road. Draper Animal Services was also there clearing the animals and collecting the ones that were still alive.
Yeah, it was not a sight for the faint of heart.
It was weird. Just a weird one.
While this is rare, Draper PD says if something like this happens to you...
Tonight, one of the most significant but not surprising foreign policy moves from President Trump.
The United States will withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal.
Punishing new sanctions now back in place as the president gives some companies up to 6 months to wind down involvement with Iran.
We cannot prevent an Iranian nuclear bomb under the decaying and rotten structure of the current.
Hey everybody, I'm Chad Booksan with Alternative Media Television. This is breaking news right now. We're hearing that Iranian forces, and these are early reports, are striking Israel. Now, the Israeli Defense Forces are stating that Iranian forces fired 20 rockets at Israel, and the Iron Dome, which is basically their missile defense system, has captured some, has struck some. Now, I was expecting Iran to retaliate because their Iranian soldiers were getting killed. But what has Israel been saying? The IDF, what have they been stating to their people? That either Iranian proxies, Hezbollah, or Revolutionary Guard members were getting ready to strike. Look, this is the truth right here. A major war is breaking out. Israel and Iran are at war. United States is giving the blessing to go after Iran. This is why we pulled out of the Iranian nuclear deal. Every president does the same deep state policies. We need to take out the Middle East. We've taken out almost every country. The whole place is basically...
It has been a day full of extraordinary moments and images, and it started with this one. The supreme leader of North Korea walking across the dividing line into the south. Kim Jong-un then grabbed the hand of South Korean President Moon Jae-in, and together they stepped back, for a moment, onto North Korean soil.
First, the drug crisis in America today is killing more people each year than AIDS, gun deaths, or car crashes did at their peaks. Tonight, we look at the role of fentanyl, a powerful synthetic opioid increasingly driving that high mortality rate, pushing law enforcement, health officials, and lawmakers to search for new solutions. William Brangham visited Massachusetts, a state that has seen a dramatic rise in opioid deaths, more than 2,000 people just last year. It's the focus of our weekly segment on the leading edge and part of our series, America Addicted.
Knowing that that next bag is going to kill you, it doesn't matter because you're addicted, you know, and it certainly didn't stop me.
Kelsey, who asked that we not use her last name, began shooting heroin 12 years ago. She was just 15. Earlier this year, she overdosed here in the bathroom inside Boston's Healthcare for the Homeless, which sits on the city's south end, an area known as Methadone Mile for its cluster of treatment centers.
One afternoon, I was walking along and I looked on the ground and I found a bag and it had 6 bags of dope bagged up. And I was like, oh, cool. I did it. And the next thing I know, I'm waking up in the ambulance.
Can you tell us your name? Her story isn't unusual. Just a few miles away, a man is found unresponsive. He's revived using naloxone, the drug that reverses opioid overdoses, until paramedics arrive. In the past few years, this has become a daily scene for Boston's emergency services.
In Bellevue, Ohio, Corianne Evans was driving with her 2 young children in the car when she started to overdose. She managed to hit the brakes before she passed out. Fortunately, she was taken to a hospital where doctors revived her before it was too late. She has since stopped taking opioids.
I almost killed my kids. I didn't even have it in park.
I could have flipped that car and killed them, or I could have killed other people.
Cody, where do you live? In Manchester, New Hampshire, firefighters created a program to help addicts after one of the firefighters helped a colleague's brother who was addicted to drugs and on the verge of suicide.
No one agency can do this, no one city can do this. This has got to be an all-out, all-hands-on-deck effort to fix this thing nationwide.
Come on, buddy. The Centers for Disease Control reports that more than 40,000 people died from opioid overdoses in 2016, a five-fold increase from 1999.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says the opioid epidemic is getting worse. In 45 states, emergency room visits for overdoses are up 30%, and there are virtually no signs of it getting better. Here's Dean Reynolds.
According to the Centers for Disease Control, the nation is in the grip of a fast-moving epidemic for which there are no easy solutions. Coletta is an emergency room physician in Naperville, Illinois, where they treated 500 opioid-dependent patients last year.
You see the carfentanil and the fentanyl as well as heroin and...
Yep, we see a little bit of everything.
Increases in other states across the nation are even more alarming. Wisconsin up 108%, Pennsylvania 80%, Delaware almost 105% in suspected overdoses treated in emergency rooms. Dr. Ann Schuchat is acting director of the CDC.
We saw increases in every geographic region, increases in men and women, increases in all adult age groups.
According to the CDC, overdoses kill about 5 people every hour across the U.S.
The potency and toxicity of what's on the street is very high right now. And so we think there probably is not an increase in people using drugs, but there's an increase in the danger associated with a single use.
Aaron Weiner is the director of addiction services at Linden Oaks Behavioral Health.
We know that up to 90% of people will relapse in the first year going through rehab. It's a very difficult problem, and particularly for opioids. The biological pull is very strong.
We're going to go to severe weather in the heartland. I wish this had never happened before. At least 18 reported tornadoes in 3 states overnight, and more than 100 severe weather reports. ABC's Gio Benitez is in Walnut, Iowa, where they're seeing significant damage. Good morning, Gio.
Hey, Michael, good morning to you. Yeah, powerful storm system clearly moved through here. Just take a look at this building. The walls ripped right off. You got the ceiling there just collapsing. Incredibly, nobody was injured here. That's the good news. But boy, this is causing quite a mess across the Midwest. Overnight, twister after twister taking aim at the heartland. You can see this massive funnel cloud making its way across that field. In Oklahoma, this reported tornado touching down. And check out the ominous Kansas sky overnight, lightning revealing numerous funnel clouds. Lightning striking this home, firefighters spending the night battling the blaze, but not able to save the house. As torrential blinding rains hammer parts of the Midwest. Drivers being pummeled by large hail, making for treacherous conditions. Some drivers pulling off the roads to wait it out. And in Nebraska, a dust storm leading to a multiple car pileup, more than 24 cars involved.
Begin with an alarming story about rising death rates among white adults in America. WSJ's special writer Betsy McKay joins us now to discuss. Thanks for being here, Betsy.
Thanks for having me.
As you point out in your piece, this trend is shocking for an economically advanced country like the United States. What is driving the uptick in deaths?
Report from the Centers for Disease Control. Researchers say teenage suicide is growing at an alarming rate. Since the year 2000, the suicide rate for teens is up 28%, with a startling average of 5 deaths a day. Jerika Duncan looks into what's behind the rising teen toll.
He was just an all-around great kid. He was an athlete.
Jennifer Gonzalez says her 17-year-old son, Jack Farrell, seemed fine last Thanksgiving.
And the next day I get woken up by the police knocking on my door saying I needed to come with them right away. I found out then that he shot himself in the head.
New CDC data shows suicide rates for boys like Farrell, age 15 to 19, increased more than 30%. 3 years ago, Conrad Roy died in this truck from carbon monoxide poisoning after his friend, Michelle Carter, encouraged him to commit suicide through dozens of text messages.